You think you work longer means you're more experienced, you're better than me. That means you know better, right? But I use more advanced method, right? I'm faster than you. I'm more productive.
More shortcut.
I got more shortcut. And all these things I also can do. You do your 3 steps. I do 2 steps. I'm faster than you, right? So are you really better than me? Who are you to tell me, right? So I had the view for a long time.
Until
I became the old one. Until I became the experienced one, right? Welcome back to Wise and Shine. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut.
And I'm Dawn, SG Budget Babe. Right now on set, we have Sian.
Hi everyone, I'm Sian. I'm the host for the Chinese Financial Coconut Show, Li Chai.
Oh yeah! She tak boleh tahan us, yeah. But I love it. Li Chai, oh yeah.
The yeah is the coconut word.
Yes. Check out our Chinese podcast. It's doing very well on TikTok, on IG. So check it out, okay? Li Chai, oh yeah. But today we want to focus on something that Li Chai, we got to talk about this, hard work, all this. Do you talk about these things?
Hard work.
Maybe not, huh?
Not yet.
Okay, it's very personal finance. So great. Check out the show. But today we want to focus on an extended topic because I think we have recorded quite a few of the tangential topic around this. But there is this classic idea out there about the 10,000 hour of success, right? Or 10,000 hour to success. Something along those lines.
Isn't it 10,000 hours to be good at your skill or something?
Okay, yeah. I mean, to successful in that, right? In that. Okay, so 10,000 hour of success. So I think I know it's a metaphor. I'm not gonna hold anybody on like, is it really 10,000 hour? No,
cannot be 9,000
Yeah. Cannot be 9,000 man. Yeah, so don't give me that kind of discussion, right? So it's a metaphor, but the genesis is like you gotta work hard and put in the work, put in the effort to become good at something, right? So I really wanted to discuss a little bit, right? Is the 10,000 hour hard work a must, right? For you to succeed in anything. Of course, the converse is about talent, also this whole discussion about like shortcuts, all that, right? So we're going to go into all of that. But yeah, so it's 10,000 hours needed to succeed.
Well, if we were to break it down, 10,000 hours, right? If you do, let's say, 3 hours a day, that equates to about 9 years. 9 years to get good at something, to really start being recognized and get successful. I think it's a decent gauge.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you actually went to count.
No, it was in a production script.
Producer counted it. Love it. Love you. Okay. Fair,
I don't have a calculator here, not so fast.
Okay. Great. So 9 years.
About 9 years. I think
9 years.
I mean, if I look back at my own journey, that seems about right. Because I've been in my corporate industry for 10 years already.
How long has the blog been around?
No, my corporate one for investigations. Then I have been doing my blog. This would be the 10 or 11 years. I also lost count. I think 10. And yeah, so I think it more or less fits that, right?
Lost count to a point where I was telling, hey, time to rebrand. Then she was like, rebrand to what? Budget auntie. Yeah. She said that to me. It's like, what to rebrand? It's like, okay.
Rebrand to what? Budget auntie. What's the older version of babe?
I don't know.
You can be babe until 70
I'm
years
not
old.
going to say
Yeah.
Okay. Put in the comment section, give budget babe an idea what to rebrand to. Okay? But yes.
She agreed to do that.
It's okay, you can comment. Maybe she will like your ideas. Okay. But yeah, what is your take there?
I do agree on grinding, on refining your craft and things like that. But there is one thing that I always ask is, for example, people who have written on their resume saying that I have 5 years of experience. But is that actually 5 years of experience or 1 year of experience duplicate 5 times?
Okay.
So is time the only thing that measures you will be successful at what you do?
Okay.
But we can't tell what. So we just have to assume, if we see 5 years, that the 5 years guy versus the 1 year guy, the 5 years guy will hopefully know a lot more.
Hopefully know a lot more. I like how
we
you use
assume
that word.
that it's not probably
And
5
based on
times
the number,
more.
it should be, right?
Yeah, but it should be more, right? So we just use it as a gauge to simplify our quick on-the-spot judgment on the people.
So I think I get what you're saying. Okay, I get where you're coming from. On this whole is the amount of time in something just a proxy to how good you are.
Exactly.
Right? Just an easy way to looking like, oh yeah, you've been doing it for a long time, right? Or maybe you're very good at it, 5 years you've been at it, right? And I think this idea is especially prevalent amongst young people. right? Because a lot of young people will think like, okay, well, I do well, I know this thing. Well, you think you do longer than me, that means you better, man, right? So, and when I was a bit younger, I had that same view also, right? It's like, you think you work longer means you're more experienced, you better than me. That means you know better, right? But I use more advanced method, right? I'm faster than you. I'm more productive.
More shortcut.
I got more shortcut. And all these things I also can do. You do your 3 steps, I do 2 steps. I'm faster than you, right? So are you really better than me? Who are you to tell me, right? So I had the view for a long time.
Until
I became the old one. Until I became the experienced one, right? Then I'm like, yeah, not wrong. Maybe when you are young and you're new in the game, you play the game a while, then you're like, hey, actually there's a shortcut lah, right? Just do this, you can get it, right? And I would say that it's valid, right? Those shortcuts may be valid, yeah? But you may have not played a game where the seasons turn, right? So this is the same game. Right, you think it's the same game, but actually within the 5 years, the seasons may have turned. You know, like you may have run like for me, like I've done content for like 3-4 years, right? And I think I know it. Then I go and talk to other people that have been at it for longer. Then then there'll be this down season, then things not so good, right? Then you become not relevant. How do you stay relevant? You know, all these things, they do come with experience.
Or you get your first cease and desist letter.
Yeah. Then I ask her, hey, how 怎么办? Then she tell me, no worries.
So you have actually received one before.
So many.
Have this many times, right?
Because of experience, I think that's the part that to be fair to the younger ones and our younger selves, we don't know what we don't know, right? So all we know is the task that we're being asked to do, and we could be right in saying like, yeah, we really are using faster, shorter, better methods. Ways. Yeah, but what we don't see because we don't know is that experience and time brings along other stuff that cannot be Googled or just like being taught. Sometimes you need to live through the experience, then you know how to handle. Like when in content creation, when you get your first cease and desist letter, you need to experience that whirlpool of emotions. You need to actually experience how to craft your case, how to examine the evidence, and then how to, respond to that letter. And then next time when the second, third, fourth cease desist letter, you come like, I know already, right? But when you're young, you never experience. It's not just about creating content, because the moment you need to have created for a certain amount of time, get a certain traction, then you'll get that cease and desist. Then you're like, oh, actually, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a cease and desist letter. The young people may not know that.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's the part in experience, and that's maybe why the whole metaphor of 10,000 hours comes about, because there's some things that only comes in with experience, like crisis management, people management, client network management, brand sponsorship. I think one thing in content also that we struggle with all the time is, how do we stay authentic while still pursuing commercial interests so that we don't die? And then the common way that we try to do is one for them, one for me, right? That's the popular way in media right now. But will that work all the time? Are there better ways? We will also need to be open-minded and keep shifting.
No, and on that note, right, when you're the young and trendy thing, right, you're the new thing, right, everybody will crowd around you. Like in media, right, if you're the new trendy, you viral, right, everyone will try to, sponsor on your platform. The brands will come. For how long? How long can you stay there? And
can you sustain?
You get circled out into another season. Now someone else is the new and trendy, right? So how do you then stay relevant? And all these things, whether it's in the content business or whether in any other field and craft, right? I think there is validity in that kind of experience that comes along, right? That when you are only that far, you really can't see everything.
Yeah, this is so true. I was just reading a story by an OG influencer who I knew. Yeah, she really like one of the first few.
Is it XX?
No. But I think shortly after XX time. Okay, so she was actually very popular. My entire school, all of us knew her.
BCC.
I'll tell you later after the recording, yeah. So she was actually sharing her life story of how she's been an influencer for so long, but she just couldn't stay relevant, turn that monetization into a sustainable revenue. At the same time, you look at Naomi Neo, you see such a big world of difference. Yeah. So I think really, experience is something that, how we go through that experience is something that only time can give us. Yeah. So we cannot think that, I know better way. I know shortcut. You lao gu tong lah. I better. No, there are really things that we don't know.
But I want to add in this idea that, okay, if the fact that you can feel that way, that means on some level you're quite bored of that, right? On some level, right? To feel like you know it, I know already lah. That means you're quite bored of it already, right? And then and it's probably valid. You probably know it. right? To a point where, you can close your eyes and just do the same thing.
But you've already
know?
learned what you need to learn at that stage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I think that is also a valid case, and then that is when other ideas start to fester, right? Like don't need to put in so much hard work smart, don't need to work hard, but all these other things start to come in, right? They need a platform to fester, right? So how I look at it is you don't need to make the leap, right? You can just take it as, okay, I'm quite good at what it is. It's getting boring. And that's it. It can stop there, right? Like you don't need to take a leap to say like, yeah, you also not that good, what? Because this logic is a two-tier logic, right?
Yes.
Right? You can stop at, okay, I'm quite bored. That's it. But a lot of people will take it as like, oh, actually, yeah, my senior also not as good as me, right? I can do it faster and better. So I think from that viewpoint, maybe it's a good thing for a lot of us to realize that when we are bored, what is it? What is it trying to tell us? It tells us that, so you want to continue or not? If you want to continue on this thing, why do you want to continue on this thing? And if you want to continue on this thing, how do you invigorate your next level of like
what else can be done?
What else can be done, right? So that you can continue to put in the grind so that you make up for the hours, right? Because the fact
But
is...
you need to learn new things and new experiences.
Yeah. But in other words, we are not disputing the idea of 10,000 hours, right? I mean, it's a metaphor, but we're not... We are in unison of it, is it? Are we in unison that
actually
you must put in the
totally
hours?
agree you need to grind the hours. But whether or not are you grinding the right direction...
Yes.
That will matters. That will be like, if you're not grinding the right direction, you are basically grinding your first 1,000 hours and then repeating the same thing. But every time you felt that you know your stuff, you need to start reaching out to, we call it stepping out of the comfort zone, to start reaching out to the things that you're not too familiar with, and then you refine those things to make the best skill that you had in foundation to become better or like a bigger picture. That is where the time that you put into grind becomes effective.
Correct. It's like the math student who keeps solving the same problem over and over using the wrong method. Then the student next to him actually knows this is the correct one. Just put in 1 minute, finish it. You're like, I just spent 3 hours trying to solve this stupid problem and you solve it in 1 minute. But actually it's the method, right?
Rather than a lot, because maths is quite, how do I say it, straightforward. Like usually there's one method to reach that one answer, but there are a lot more things in life that has multiple solutions.
But yeah, please go for it. Yeah.
So like, let's say fixing the roof, for example. They could use method A, you could use method B. Both will fix the roof, but the repercussion that happens after that, and also which one is more long lasting, which one saves cost, all these things has to come with experience where you have tried all of them.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really important point, grinding and making sure you're grinding in the right direction.
How do you know that you're grinding in the right direction then?
I would say you have to ask mentors. Have to ask people who know, because like what I like to say, you don't know what. You think you know,
Or
and you just keep doing the wrong
inventing like Bob thingy. You need to know the other ways that's not the right direction.
1,000 ways to fail.
That one on some level is a random experiment. Right? At least you try very times, random experiment. Then, it works. Right?
At least have a goal
and then
that you want to achieve,
consolidate
right?
the whole thing as a wisdom. Actually, he's as random as
It was a reverse engineer process.
He didn't go and say, okay, I'm definitely going to fail 1,000 times, then I'll find the right one, right? It's not, I don't think it's a congruent process. It's more like, hey, it works, right? Then the whole thing kind of come back together.
Yeah, but I think asking is important, because then we can ride on the knowledge and wisdom of those who know more than us or who may have actually already gone through it. And sometimes, right, I feel a lot of the things that we have to learn may not even exist yet.
Yeah.
But when we learn to blend, right, we talk to, let's say, the tech person, the soft skills person, the education person, then you start to find what they call the nice in between on the Venn diagram, everything intersect, right? And that could be your next learning point, the next growth.
Okay, but I will argue that is very situational, right? In a sense that not every day people will think like that. It's only when the problem becomes so big that everyone else cannot solve it for you, then you will go and try to reach beyond what the industry accept as wisdom.
Yeah, correct.
Right. Because if it's just like, you are lost, you don't even really know what you want, and you're going to talk to senior right? Then they will give you some sort of forefront insight, right?
But that's based on their experience.
Yes, based on their experience.
Correct.
So if what is based on their experience work, then that's end of story.
Yeah, so you just follow in the industry until you reach a point where you realize doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah,
Maybe I
yeah.
need to think out of the box.
Yes, then
and
you bring in all these other things.
Yes,
And that's my personal experience, lah, right? If it's within a sector, someone else has done it before you, you may not even need to try. They'll just tell you this does not work. But
Yeah.
to feed your curiosity, I will still do it, lah. I fun jian, right?
Yeah, because you also recognize that the person who told you it does not work, maybe because their method was not right at that point in time, or the audience, the environment is not right. Like, the first EV car didn't fly off until that reached a certain
And
stage.
then maybe you couldn't understand completely why it doesn't work.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but either way, you put in the work already, right? So if it fails, it fails. If it works, it works, right? So I don't discount that, right? So what about the in this day and time, right? I feel like, okay, maybe not just in this day and time, but it's still a very common thing for people to try to like do shortcuts. You know, like try to find shortcuts, like the grind is no longer as sexy anymore, right? And in fact, I would argue that the grind is not sexy because a lot of people that say they're hustling, right? They are just trying to find the fastest shortcut. They are not truly like doing the grind. You know what I mean? They're trying to like find quick ways to get it, right? And that is synonymous with the hustle culture, right? It's not just about like being super good at what you do. Right, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
rather than running in one same direction, they were running around.
No, rather than trying to actually be very good at that one thing, which is I think what the grind really suggests. The word hustle these days is more like finding the thing that can work, and finding the fastest way, the shortest cut to go and hustle and get it done. It's more synonymous. Of course, this you can load it differently. These are semantics, But I feel like that is how people look at it. When people talk about the grind, it's very clear cut. The grind is the grind, right? You just got to do it, repeat, be very good at it, right? Whereas hustle carries this tone of like, I'm going to try all sorts of things and find the thing that works and the fastest way, the shortest way to achieve it, right? And so I'm bringing this up because I'm curious, like what are your takes on like finding shortcuts, essentially?
I think shortcuts are great. And we do ourselves a disservice if we don't attempt to try and find the shortcut, right? But just like in school where sometimes you use a shortcut in math and you don't get the point because just they know this question is 6 marks. You use this, you only get 2 marks.
You knew that that's the right answer.
No, the answer state. Why you can't give me 6 marks? No, got method points. Okay, fine. But I think like the important thing is we try and find the shortcuts, but we need to recognize the trade-offs of the shortcut.
Can you share a bit more, please?
Yeah, then the trade-off in the math is simple. You lose 4 marks. Okay, but in life, okay, you must extrapolate it to life, right? So yeah, I teach tuition last time, so all the academic stuff.
Come back.
Yeah, but I think like, some shortcuts require you to be more, like to compromise your certain morals. I give you an example. The recent money laundering case. The property agents were involved. Okay, I don't know them personally. I don't know about their character, but I can imagine there will be some who were really innocent versus those who knowingly still let the transaction through. And I can imagine if I was in that situation and like some cash rich guys come to me with 10 luggages worth of cash and tells me like, hey, I want to buy this GCB. I also like, wow, my commission, ding, 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 ding. Shortcut, right? A shortcut to getting rich, shortcut to getting like the number one in my agency or whatever. But at what cost? Later on, when it gets discovered, could lose your license, then your the ethics and your moral character is being questioned. You may not even be able to practice anymore. So I think we need to understand what are the potential trade-offs if we were to adopt these shortcuts and then decide whether it's worth taking that shortcut.
One thing I think of is by taking shortcut, it gets you to the end goal, but you might be missing out on certain things. I can't think of a very good example right now, but let me break it down into like a theory. So for example, if I were to achieve a project, I'll need to complete phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. But sometimes certain projects only require me to get the result of phase 4. So I can take a shortcut and go from phase 1 directly to phase 4, getting it done. But what if in the future, when I run into another scenario where it requires me to problem solve things in phase 2 or phase 3, I would not be able to do so.
Exactly.
I have an example for that, right? Okay. So I hired someone, right, to do social media essentially, right? And what they did, the first few posts were great. Right, and of course, right, for all sorts of reasons, usually as a creative, your first few posts will be quite decent, not be too jialat, right? I mean, if not, why I will hire you? To be fair, right? But then after a while, then I realized that this thing is not repeatable. So in other words, right, I went to try to find out what's going on, right, and I realized that because just copying some of these other posts. right, for other people, which is fair, right? I mean, we all copy. Everyone is copying each other's, in terms of the content creation process. But when you copy, it may work, once or twice. It becomes a bit random. After a while, right, it's not consistent. Right. And I think that is exactly the point of, like, if you take a shortcut, which is copying other people, you may copy and work for a few times, right?
You get a good end result.
Yeah. But you don't understand the process that gets from point A to get to point B, right? And it calls for a situation where there's nothing to copy anymore.
There will be.
How are you gonna create, right? Like what is the creation process gonna be like, right? And you become very flimsy in your understanding, especially when I bring in like clients and all that, right? Then it's like, what are you doing?
Exactly. I have another example. Very clear trade-offs. So if let's say someone, and a lot of young people now want to be content creators, KOLs, influencers, right?
Your opinion is not key. Just saying.
You can buy followers.
Oh
Yes.
You succeed very fast, right? But the quality of your engagement is crap. And we've all seen it, right? I mean, brands and clients now are not so stupid either. Last time, they only look at the following count.
Yes.
Now, because of the whole, social blade expose and all, they realize there's more to just the following count. You look at the 6-digit Instagrammer, you see the views, how come only 5,000?
Yes. Like on YouTube, subscribers versus view every video.
Correct. Very, very common. So that's the shortcut long. You succeed very fast. Then based on that numbers, you can now go and find your sponsors, because that will still be sponsored, like, oh, you're a 300k Instagrammer. Okay, I give you this freebie. But end up 0 sales or like 1 sale. Versus you sponsor the other, let's say the 5k or the 8k influencer, and you get like 100 sales, because the quality of the conversion relationship is very
You're
different.
subtly pushing yourself. No, you're more than 5k, 8k lah. But it's like, actually, right? It's about the engagement, right?
It's really
More than
true.
a follower.
Yeah,
It's
for
really
budget
more than
babe.
the followers, isn't it? Right? I mean, there was that meme, if you saw even a presidential election. Someone did the 3 candidates following count versus the actual votes. It says nothing, right? So there are some shortcuts that we can take in life. And some people, like what you said, I mean, for example, I was very impressed at Kok Song as a new blood. Like you say, people flood there, right? But whether or not that sustains, whether that converts, translates into the actual, in this case, vote count,
It didn't,
impact
right?
result. Yeah, it didn't know.
Yeah.
But for someone who wants to make that like their career, I mean, unfortunately, he did say that if he doesn't win, he won't run again because of age, right? But if, let's say, imagine he was 30 years younger, then that's not going to be the end one, right? It will be all about how can I use this and I continue to grow and funnel so that the
What works,
next...
what doesn't.
Yes, learn from what was good and what wasn't. And then the next round of presidential election, I have all these experiences and I will come out even stronger, even better. Yeah,
And
so
that's
I
a big
think-
part of the 10,000 hour, right? Essentially,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what...
part of the 10,000 hours,
okay.
exactly.
Reviewing is very, very important in these 10,000 hours. Like if you don't
Yes.
check your progress and review what works and what doesn't, then it's not just about the time.
Exactly. Yeah, I have another example. I think this many of you might be able to relate. So anyone who ever needs to seek a deal or commercial term or commercial interest, right? There's an easy way, which is someone. Hey, you help me close that deal. You help me intro a bit, you help me get the person to sign off. Choose me lah. Don't choose the other competitors. Don't choose the other vendors. Choose us lah, because you are my sister's best friend, brother-in-law. We need based on the relationship connection. But is that actually replicable? You don't go through the whole process of actually, pitching, sorting out your USP, articulating that above and beyond your competitor, making it a very strong case for the client to pick you above everyone else. You can win 1 time, 2 times, 10 times, see the quality and power of your network connection. But it's not going to fit in all the way. Why? At some point at 10,000 hours, maybe at the 4,000 hour, you realize you got nothing ready.
Right.
And to be fair, right, I am not discounting that way of doing things, right? So for me, it's like you need somebody to give you an opportunity, right? You want to get into something, you need some sort of lobang or something, right?
Yeah, for sure. But we cannot rely on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the part where I want to highlight, which is even if you get that 1 time, 2 time, you get your way in, right? Great. Take it, run. But deep down, right, you must be very cautious.
Yes.
That your stuff or your skill sets or you as a person haven't stood the test of time.
Correct.
Right. And I think that is the the element here, right? When I told producer, hey, let's bring up this topic because I feel like a lot of people are just trying to get things done in the shortest period of time, and they totally underestimate the element of this test of time. You know, like there's so many brands that fail. You know, like a lot of service providers also just like close shop.
Or there's so many podcasts that has less than 50 episodes.
Yeah, and it just they just don't continue, right? And as
So
you
time
do
shows
longer
that
in that,
consistency and commitment as well.
of course, I think those are much longer discussions, right? But I think it's just the matter that you stay longer at this, you really become a professional at it because you've just seen the bad and ugly and the turn. It's like the story is not a linear growth story, right? Like 10,000 hours. It's gonna be like that, like shit show, turn, and then like maybe come
Maybe
back
might
again.
not go up anymore.
Yeah, maybe then you're at the crossroads. Like, do I want to continue? Right, and if you continue, then are you the last man standing, or will you end up becoming the beacon of it? Right, so I think there's a lot of that, the element of time that is a bit hard, a bit arbitrary for a lot of us to understand. But if you look at a lot of these other people, right, a lot of them just been there for long enough, and they make it because they've been there for long enough.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I think this is a problem actually. I have a lot of conversations with many people, and I find that not just an age, even though it tends to afflict the young more so than many other age groups, but anyone at any point, they don't commit long enough to become a master at what they do. And time is so important because that's when you really assess a person. You get to see how the person performs through up and down, and you know whether the person is truly committed. Example, your insurance agent friend out of uni says, hey bro, can't buy insurance with me. Yeah, support me. Like, I really want to pursue this career. I'm very serious one.
I'm not supporting you, bro.
I'm
sorry.
have decided this is going to be my future. Then you sign with him. 3 years later, you get the letter, dear sir, your servicing agent has left the industry. So common, right? No wonder people lose faith.
3 years is long, actually.
Yeah, there are 1 year, 2 year cases, right? So, but honestly, if let's say the friend, the bro, has stuck around,
Don't bro me lah, come on.
has stuck around till the 10th year, and don't do the wrong things all the way, like go and find the right mentor, switch agencies or team leaders if you need to. He stick around the 10th year, he would definitely be a very good insurance agent because he would have seen so many cases, he would have gone through so many claims already, so many different permutations of client scenarios that his advice is going to be so much better than that newbie who leaves after a few years. And I think this is the problem. People get very attracted to the new thing.
The hot stuff.
Yeah, the hot stuff, the greed, right? Oh, you mean I join you in this business, this side hustle, this MLM, this micro business, I can earn this amount of money. They get very excited by it, but they don't commit. And I think that's a very, very big problem because it's only when you truly understand, I think I can do this for the long run. I am interested in it. I want to do what it takes to succeed. And I'm going to remain committed so I can build up my base. And that's when you really do yourself a service because when you go on that journey, right, everything you build will result in something for yourself. Either a learning or a loyal customer who's going to stay with you for a long, long time or more referrals that will come your way. But when you just go in and you don't know, I don't know whether to make it work and you don't know whether to commit or not, how will your that bro know whether I buy the insurance with you, you're going to run in the next year or so, right?
Triggered.
I think every one of us has this bro among our circles that is like keep on trying on new hot projects, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you got seats also.
Yes.
we're not
Actually, Alan is one of those bros, right? If you think about it, he's tried many different things, right? So Alan is he's his co-host of the Chinese show Li Cai. Oh yeah. But yes. So he has tried many different things also, right?
Which is fine, discovery.
Which is fine, right? He's discovering, but at the end, I think he has kind of like found some stuff that's a bit more anchored today, right? And it's great. And I think that myriad of experience kind of come in also.
And each of them would have a certain thing that you can carry forward to the next thing that you're
Hopefully,
trying.
yes, hopefully. Yeah.
Correct.
And just based on that thing, right? I feel like I don't want to falsely propagate this idea that you should just do the grind. You should just do the grind, right? Like the grind is important. You must put in 10,000. No, I don't want to do that because many junctures throughout my grind, I just feel like giving up. It's it's annoying. It's so hard. People don't see the value. Blah blah blah. Like it's so tiring. Let's just stop.
I think we need to recognize what is worth grinding for. Yeah. So I shared a story on my blog, right? Like when I first, I mean, I love writing. Since I was young, I wanted to be an author already. So it was only natural that later on then I started a blog, and it doesn't hurt me in any way to want to keep it running. I like writing. It's like my outlet. So I've just kept it going long. But over the years, I've seen a lot of bloggers come in, then they become the next new thing, everyone crowd there. Then after 1 or 2 years, they leave. And then, it repeats. So if you look at the whole scene, right, how many people have been around for a long time? The blogs, the podcasters and everyone.
All died
but
already.
those of us, not all, really got people stick around for very long.
Die already. No, I think there's a new wave there. They're coming in.
Because we stick around, we tend to dedicate ourselves to the craft. We learn more. We also have experiences that are more valuable, right? I can say things like, in my most recent article, I wrote this paragraph. When investing in SGX was very expensive because the minimum bot size was 1,000.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how many of the new bloggers can say that because their time already is 100 already. Yeah. Or like now moving towards fractional shares, right? After you don't have at least 4 digits, it's very hard to even invest. Now, $10, $50 also can already. Yeah. So things have changed, but it's because we have that experience that we can see things and analyze things a bit differently. So I think for anyone who is wanting to grind or who is questioning whether it's worth that to start that 10,000 hour journey or to continue on it if you're already on one, it's important for us to recognize, is this worth doing? Otherwise, it is just going to go up all in smoke.
Yeah. Fair. And I think to do that, then the same HO method of just asking someone that's been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
It's quite helpful, right? And a lot of them will eventually age out. So I see, it's true. They will age out at some point. Then, maybe you can take their place, right? And all that, right? So
I sought out a lot of advice from people
seniors,
who were running their finance websites when I first started.
It's like this 15-minute conversation with them, like the clients that I've met before. It's a consolidated essence of their experience. They will be able to make better decisions and tell you what will work, what will not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair. But then for the people that are like kind of already a professional, like they are very good at what they do already. They've done this whole 10,000 hour thing, because I think we've established, right, the idea that hard work is important, right? You must do the grind if you want to do well, right? And it's not just about hard work versus talent, both must have, right? All these things, I think we're quite unison. This is nothing revolutionary, right? But for the people that are really professional at something, right? What do you think are some of their problems and their struggles? Like for me, right, when I get them good at something, I'm damn bored of it. But I still have to... We
covered just now already. I must learn and find from other industry, other blends to move to the next stage.
Try to find out what you don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have more things to dig further. Then it will become interesting because it's something new.
And sometimes the people before us may not have set or carved out that path yet.
In what sense?
It's up to us to do it. Right? Like as a podcast, for example, maybe there's 1,000 things to do in a podcast and you've done all of that already in a shorter time than anyone else because of technology and many other factors. But podcasting itself can go beyond just what it is, right? So then exploring how it can fit into many other areas of our life. Are there other blends that we can bring in to move up to the next stage? I think that's important. Yeah. And it's just something that I didn't deliberately set out to do this, but I was quite lucky that it found its way to me because I started as a finance blogger, right? Like that's all I cared about when I was writing. I was like, I don't want to go down the fashion, this is my OOTT kind of route, because there are a lot of people doing that, and I didn't think I was a pretty enough face to be doing that kind of work anyway. But later on, when I became a parent, very naturally, parenting brands approached me. I was like, I never actually thought of finance as for parents either. And that whole world just opened up. And the amount of finance bloggers now, I would say, I mean, you know, right, our scene is quite small. Like most of the parenting finance brands and budgets, they only work with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm very vocal about my life as I'm the only mother also.
It's true.
Like
You're the
with
only
kids
mom in
and
the
everything,
space.
you're the only mom in the space. So I'm very vocal about it. And that is something new that was never explored by anyone else before me. Yeah. So I think that's where the growth comes in, because if you've already hit that 10,000 hours, what can we make of the next 10,000 hours so that we're not just repeating 10,000 times 2 times 3 times 4. We want to be learning new things.
So we should do a series, right? I should sell to a brand about this parenting and finance. Okay, shout out to you, whoever.
Yeah.
I will pitch to you, right? Budget Babe will anchor host as the series.
I want to raise another point of contention. So with 10,000 hours, okay, it might be 9,000, 8,000, whatever. Okay.
Establish the metaphor.
Once we lock in on that idea also, right, it does send the implicit underlying message that then young people cannot succeed. Because they haven't hit the 9 years left. So how to break out of this?
Okay, I feel okay, to be fair, I feel like there are young people that succeed. Maybe they put in 5,000 hours, but their 5,000 hour quality is very high quality.
So it's a talent,
Right.
And it's a talent thing
There's
also.
some talent to it. There's some talent to it. And of course, it's teamwork, all these kind of things. They can come in, right? It's a multiplier effect, not just them alone, right? What sector you're in. So there are elements of that, right? Where you start to see people perform, in that are much younger. There are, right? They're very good at what they do, and they're very smart. The way they look at it, right? But I will argue that they are the anomalies. At any one point in time, there will always be anomalies, right? It's for the general, the people that are, like learning a new thing. Give yourself a bit more patience. You got to do the grind. It's okay.
Which most of the time that is the bigger amount of general public all falls under the normalist category.
Yeah. It's okay, right? So like we all want to be exceptional on some level, I feel, right? But the reality is, there'll only be some people that can be exceptional, right?
We are more normal than we thought.
Yeah, no, and to be clear, right? I want to be very clear on this, right? It's there was a period of time that I was doubting myself on this thing, right? And then I asked myself, like, why are these other guys doing so much better, right? And then I thought about this. Oh, actually, they may be new in the space, but they have had other experiences that they have accumulated previously
that we don't know or
that we
see.
don't know of. So when we look at it, right, like you look at all these like finance guys, right, they talk like, wow, very easy. Then you also was like, wow, cannot be they read so much, right? Like in such a short period of time. Then you go and dig a little bit further. Oh, they've been at it for 10 years previously. It's just that they are back office. They never come out and show face, right? So sometimes when we look at these people and we think like, oh my God, they do it in 3 years, right? But it's not wrong. In 3 years, they do what they do. But previously, they have done another set of big grind for 10 years. They've already done their work, right? It's just that they are monetizing it now, or they are now kind of like making it something now, right? And we have to be clear about that.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't discount like overnight successes.
Yeah.
Or young overnight successes, but we should also cut ourselves some slack in recognizing that their overnight is not overnight at all. There's probably a lot more hard work. Yeah, correct.
But some people viral really, or like, they also,
but whether they can sustain is another thing.
Yeah, so I think we've already covered that, right? Like maybe you can immediately 表演, but now like I have a good friend of mine, he went to the conservatoire to learn, like Chinese music, right? And then he had this teacher that was teaching him like how to listen, like audio, like, that listen, like pitching and all that, like be accurate about it, right? And then this teacher was so bad at teaching because he is a talent, he's a prodigy. So he never struggled with this, right? To him, it's like, you cannot get it. This is like, hey, like you cannot get it. This is what it is, right? And then my friend was like, I really don't get it. Like, I don't.
It sounded the same to me.
Yeah. Just like, no, maybe not like that. That one is English, right? It's very bad, right? But it's just like he cannot tell clearly what is what. And then he went to another teacher's class, and then that teacher is not a prodigy. So he actually had to have a system in his own head to kind of sort this out step by step, how to get there.
And he can duplicate that to your friend.
Exactly. So my friend duplicated from teacher B instead of the teacher A, which is a prodigy, right? So on some level, the prodigy achieved the step 4, right? Like what you've put out. They never go through step 1, 2, 3, right? Because they are prodigy. They found it. It's in their blood, whatever, right? And by extension means you cannot learn from them. Right. So if they become a teacher, their system is broken.
Yeah.
Right. But if they stay a performer, never mind. They are a performer, they're great.
The best at what they do.
They're the best at what they do.
Actually, that's such a great shout out because I realized like if you are just a doer, you can succeed by taking all these shortcuts. But later on, when you become a leader, you become a teacher, a mentor to someone else, the fact that you did not go through the grind is going to be a problem. Yeah, I see it in my own like side hustle as well. So I do my weight loss consulting, right? And like maybe because it was just me, but as a consumer, I'm naturally very skeptical. I like compare every single brand, every single option.
Kind.
Yeah, I really need to know that the choice I make is like the best, right? Or the most value add.
Don't try to change your brand.
Later I get letter 我不要做了.
So when like the people who follow me in my team, I'm able to teach this to them because they will also ask, oh, why is the ours better than this? Hey, other people looking at this now, it's not very hot leh. They're spending a lot of advertising dollars. Then my customers also all asking about this one. They don't want to try mine anymore. How can I overcome that? And because I did do that, I did try that before, I can talk to them. I can teach. Like what you say, the teacher who can teach. But then those who may not have gone through that, I don't know, but I know ours very well. 100%. I know everything about our product, like the insurance as well. I know everything about insurance A. You don't ask me about B, C, D, E. I don't know lah. Yeah, but if you come from you really climb up, you grind, you go and look at the A, B, C, D all the way, right? What you give and what you value, it's going to be very different. And I feel there will be a market for both.
Yes.
Yeah, there'll be a market for the doers. There'll be a market for the leaders, the teachers, those who impart. And there'll be consumers for both.
Those that only know insurance A, if he's like super good with insurance A, he will still have a market for himself.
Yeah.
And then there are also the ones that is well versed with all of them, then it's serving a different market. So there's no conflict.
Correct. And the consumers who care about getting like the best, must do comparison table for me to compare. Why? I don't want just one CI insurance. Yeah. You will not go to the very good in insurance A1. You will go to the ABCD.
Don't sell me soft story. That's
exactly.
Not work.
So there will be different markets.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. So I think like putting in the grind is important, but figuring out what we want at the end of it. And if that changes, like the shortcut, I'm doer and I already shortcut 5,000 hours I hit already. Now this doer now want to be a team leader and need to teach. Must recognize that, my shortcut cost me 5,000
a lot of war.
experience. Yeah, now need to go and learn. Or maybe be a bit more humble in speaking to other leaders and getting their inputs more than you otherwise would if you had gone through the whole thing yourself.
Yeah. I would do that. Try to kind of ask other people, hey, so how y'all do it? It's like, how exactly. Is it like that? Because I would say that I'm an accidental success. I've never planned it this way, right? And it just worked. And then I have to slowly think back, like what works, what doesn't work, and all that, blah, 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 and ask around, try to get a better idea on those things.
Because you're committed to continuing the next 10,000. So that's you putting in the grind for your 10,000 now, lor.
Well, thank you.
To commit.
Thank you. Yes, and I hope you will commit to our show. Continuously listen, share on your socials.
We work very hard on the back end to bring you guys all these episodes filled with deep talk. You should see him. Maybe we should do a behind the scenes filming of him rejecting my ideas all the time. Because they're not good enough for the show. Not in depth enough, not mature enough, you change.
Then you go like challenge the question. Then
you still want to come? Say more. Okay, great. So I think at the end of the day, I think we are in unison. It's a bit sad that we're in unison. That you must put in the grind. But I think we have laid down a lot more nuance on like this 10,000 hour thing. Like, does it work? When does it work? When should you call it quits? How are you going about doing it? If you take a shortcut, how is it going to be? So yeah, we hope you find today's episode useful, interesting. Like, share, subscribe, follow on our socials. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
See you.